wanted to come on here and kind of share a little bit of my story about how I got started on Whole30 and why I got started. I will go back, I believe at the end of 2016, December of 2016. I woke up, at the time, I had a 1, 2, and 3-year-old. And I woke up one morning, started throughout my day. I felt a little tired, went to lay down. When I got up from my nap, my vision was very blurry, and I could hardly function. That was the only symptom I had. As time went on, like 30 minutes to an hour after I had woke up like that, it was really scary because my fingers started to get a tingle, and that tingle started to run up my arm, and I was very scared. It was the most alarming thing with my health that has ever happened. And I called my husband, and he came home right away, and he got me to the ER. They did a lot of different tests and scans on my body, and especially on my head and my brain. And they concluded that I suffered from just really bad migraines. What's crazy is that I always thought a migraine was a really bad headache. But come to find out, a migraine is a bunch of different things rolled into one. A headache is only one side effect of what is called a migraine. And I had no clue. I didn't know that there's different stages of migraines, as I came to find out later, and there's different things within those stages that will happen, and you may not even have a headache the whole time, but you'll have other health problems, and they're all part of what's called a migraine. And so the doctor gave me some medicine, it did nothing. I tried to use it over the next couple days when I start feeling that way again, and Tylenol worked better than what they gave me in the ER. So then after a couple of months, I went to my doctor, my regular physician, and talked to him about it. And he asked about my caffeine intake, my sugar intake, anything that is a known trigger for migraines. And so as we were talking, he said, I'd really would like for you to keep a food diary. And I was like, okay. Well, I was eating pretty healthy. So I thought, because I counted calories, I exercised, in counting calories, I would also eat low-calorie foods, fat-free foods, sugar-free foods, and I thought, at the time, I thought that's what healthy was, is when you stayed away from the bad foods and ate all the things that had the label on there as fat-free or sugar-free or low-calorie. And little did I know that wasn't even really healthy for me. That's just what the societal norm has always been in my world for as long as I've been alive, as what is considered healthy, because it's what is always pushed. So going through that, I tried the first day to keep a food diary, and it did not go well at all. And I said, forget this. I'll just that my physician had actually prescribed something stronger than the ER, and he said, if the second that you feel any weirdness at all in your head, just take one of these and it should keep the migraine away. So I clung to those pills like it was life or death. I always had one with me, so the second I felt bad, I would just take one. It didn't have any side effects. I thought, okay. As time went on, I thought, can I continue to live this way? Always having to have pills on my person just in case I felt bad. One time I got a migraine, and I was driving home. My husband and I were driving 2 separate cars, and I was almost home, and he wasn't that far behind me. And I called him. I said, I'm pulling over to this gas station right now. I'm going to get in your car, and you need to take me home. I cannot even see the road, the signs on the road. I can barely see the road. The migraines would get so bad that I could see nothing on the screen of my phone. And so I would have to, thank goodness for Siri. I'd have to tell Siri to call my husband, because I couldn't even pick up a phone and navigate the screen to call him. That's how bad it was. I knew I needed to do something more about it, but it was just very frustrating because I was a mom of 3 kids under 3, and how could I take care of them properly if I was always afraid I was going to have a migraine? I went the next couple of months. I thought, well, maybe I'm not paying attention enough to what I'm eating. I cut out all coffee, caffeine, chocolate, any triggers, and I thought I was doing good, maybe because I was staying away from coffee, but after a while, they just came back. My mom gave me a product to try. She gave me a 7-day sample, and I tried that. At the time, I was just every day I was having just a little headache, but I was like, is this going to explode into a full-blown migraine? And so I tried her product for 7 days, and it worked great. Like, I had no, I didn't ever lose vision. I didn't ever have any type of headache. I didn't have any of the symptoms from the migraine. I felt like it cured me of it. And she told me, okay, it'll cost this much a month to continue with this product, which was like, it was great that the product worked, but at the time we could not afford to have this monthly payment of this product going out every month. And just the same way that I didn't want to be dependent on pills for the rest of my life to keep migraines away, I didn't want this product for me to have to be dependent on it lifelong to keep me well. And I thought, there has to be something else out there. A couple months before my mom gave me this product, my mother-in-law was doing a program called Whole30. She had sent my husband and I the information. I had looked over it just because it was like some kind of health program, diet program, so I thought. And when I looked through it, I thought, man, this is way too strict. Like, this clean eating thing, how can anyone ever live their life like this, or even just go 30 days on this program? Like, you really have to be desperate. So then when you fast forward now a couple months after I tried the products my mom gave me, and I knew I didn't want to be I didn't want to have to be dependent on a product to keep me well. That was my initial reaction once I realized that this product had helped with my migraines, or rather really eliminated them for at least for a week. And then, it's like I had that reminder. I totally forgot about the Whole30 program information that my mother-in-law had sent us. And I remember that, and I thought, I wonder if that would help at all. And I remember it was Christmas time, and for 9 days straight, I had a headache. And I really was afraid that it was going to turn into a migraine. I really was afraid. And it was hard for me to enjoy a lot of festivities, just because in the back of my head I'm like, okay, first I have a headache, and in the back of my mind I'm thinking, is this just gonna suddenly get bad? Because the onset of the migraines were so fast, and my vision would blur like that. I wouldn't have any warning signal at all. So I decided, I believe it was December 24th, I'd had a headache for that 9-day span. And I went to Target, I bought the book, I read the book that night, not the whole thing, but I read as much as I could to understand how Whole30 works. And then December 26th, I started my first round of Whole30. I will say that to say it changed my life is an understatement, because I remember the times laying in bed not being able to see at all because I had a migraine. And it was really scary to me, because I was like, if you've never had that happen before, ever experienced blindness, it's very scary. And you don't know, is this gonna last forever? And am I never gonna see my children's faces again? And am I going to be handicapped the rest of my life? And I'm not going to be able to drive because I don't know when this is going to hit me. When you're laying in bed and you can't see a thing, a lot of thoughts run through your head. And so I decided to give it a try. And from December 26th into January, 30 days, I did it. My husband jumped on board a couple days into January after he had a rough start to the program. But he was a great cheerleader, and he did everything with me. And, you know, I have not had a migraine since. Have I eaten perfect since then? No, I have not. I've fallen off the bandwagon just like most people do. But the great thing about this is it's not a diet. It's a clean eating program. And the great thing is that after you get through the 30 days, you reintroduce those food groups to find out what those triggers are for you. And I found out that my trigger was wheat. Even now, I just stay away from bread in general after doing this program, but especially wheat. Like sometimes if I can eat one piece of wheat bread and maybe be fine, but if I eat any more or any wheat products, I'm going to start getting a headache, and I don't want to ever go back to migraine again. And every time I do it, I think, why have I not made this a lifestyle choice and not just a 30-day program? And this time we're going to do our best to go as long as we can on this. Whole30, it's made me feel great about myself. I would highly recommend this program for every person on the planet. It goes back to clean eating. You cut out processed foods. You cut out all added sugars. And I honestly, my eyes have been open to a lot of things that I thought were healthy that aren't. It's all a marketing thing. It's all a money-making thing. And, you know, with my kids, my eyes have been so open to the things that I've been giving my kids that I thought were okay for them, to find out that they're not. And this time I'm really trying to implement more healthy things into my kids' diet, so that when they become adults, they don't have a struggle with sugar like I do, or you struggle with carbs, or a struggle with, you know, all those tempting, what seems like good foods, but they don't do anything for you. And they actually make your health worse. And I will just say that it really has changed my life and my way of thinking, because, you know, you watch so many Netflix documentaries about health and what you should and shouldn't eat. You shouldn't eat GMO. You shouldn't eat gluten. You shouldn't eat meat. You shouldn't eat sugar. But to sum all that stuff up, sometimes it gets so confusing, because you're like, who do I listen to? One documentary, I found out, well, after watching 2 of their documentaries, I found out they had an underlying agenda through the whole thing, which was very annoying. Because I'm then like, do they care about my health, or do they care about just their own agenda? And so I feel like Whole30 brings all of those things together and focuses on what is good for us. I will say that every ailment, I'm not saying it's a cure-all, because nothing is a one-size-fits-all, but I'm saying if you have, and I'll talk about this later when I'm talking about what Whole30 is, but if you have any type of inflammation in your body, and there's so many things that are actually problems that we as humans have that are caused by inflammation, that we don't realize, oh, that part of my body is actually inflamed because of the processed foods. And like I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all, but that's the beauty of this, is you can use it and figure out what does specifically fit for you. So I'm just super excited to kind of share my journey as I go through this and what it has meant to me. I'm not dependent upon a pill. I'm not dependent upon a product. I'm dependent upon the food that God made for us to use, and all the vitamins and minerals in clean eating that are good for our body. I just hope this is an encouragement. If there's anything you're struggling with and you're like, I just don't know, I don't want to be dependent on pills. I don't want to be dependent on a certain product, even if it is a healthy product. A lot of things are marketed as healthy products, but actually aren't. If you want to just be dependent upon the food you put into your body to make you better, I really encourage you to try this out. Like I said, I'm not saying it cures every ailment, but it is definitely worth a try. It's worth 30 days of your life to see if this will change your life. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under A Dose of Doyle, or at my blog at www.adoseofdoyle.com.